So this was way more effort to make than I thought it would be. But I have finally created 10 different shaders for anime eye, which you can easily apply. The shaders are 100% customizable. You can tweak each and every detail, and if you look at the group node, there are just so many settings that you can play with. Of course, you don't have to play with all of them always. It's just available to give you flexibility, and today's video is dedicated to show you each and every settings so that you are familiar with how to use this add-on. And this add-on is currently available on Gumroad, and it's going to be soon available on Blender Marketplace. In a day or two, it's waiting for approval. In the meantime, it's also available on my Patreon. The actual cost of this add-on is $10, but currently you will get a 10% discount. I'll add the coupon code in the description. You can use that, only valid for the first 100 buyers. And one last thing that I want to add is that if you are a Patreon subscriber of mine, regardless of what tier you're a part of, whether it's $5 or $10, you get this add-on for free. So I value each and every supporter of mine on Patreon, and I have just made it available for both of those tiers. A lot of talk before we got into the content, but it was important. So if I zoom into the shader, you can see that the first two settings that I see is the color. So I can just basically select any color that I want, and it will give me two gradients around that, and I can just use that. But if I don't like it and I need additional gradient, well, because you can plug things here, you can just add a gradient texture and add a color ramp after that, and now you get the option to add more colors. So that's the beauty of it being procedural, is that you can add and manipulate it any way that you want, and it just gives you so much flexibility. So I want it to be a smaller eye because I want her to look a little bit angry. So I can just go ahead and increase the size to 1.5, and now you can see that it automatically displays a lot of anger. And you can simply manipulate the size of the eye. You can make it super small to make them look shocked. You can make it big, which is around this. The smaller number will make it bigger. So again, you can manipulate it the way you want. And if you don't want to manipulate the overall scale, if you just want to manipulate the width and the height of it, that's where the vector scale comes in. Here you can just play with these values here the way you want your anime eye to look like. There is also a value for border scale. This is nothing but the border of the eye. You can play with it just to set it to your liking. Apart from that, we also get the mask scale. This is the overall mask as to how much you want to extend it. I would not touch it in general, but you might have some use cases for it, so I have kept that option. Now there is also this color gradient that you see here, right? There are two circles. You can also manipulate the scales of those gradients, and it gives you a lot more flexibility to set the design for your eye. Now addition to that, you also get vector position. Now this is just to adjust the eye in case it's not set correctly and you need more additional support there. You can also animate this value just to make your character look left or right instead of animating the eyeball if that is causing the problem. You also get options to set pupil color. So like you can make sure that your pupil is colored the way that you want. You can also change the color of the border, which is the corner, and if you zoom into it, you can see that these are both now green color, which can be helpful when you're going for a more stylized look. The vector scales, it's also available for your pupil, so you can also just simply make this smaller, and now automatically your eye is changed to a cat eye, which gives you again a lot of flexibility to just design your character the way that you want to. And again, this can be animated, right? So like you can easily go ahead and animate it, and it makes your animation so much simpler. It also gives you an option to like individually manage the scale of your pupil. Here, this entire section is for setting your reflections. So like in this particular eye type, there are only two reflections. So you see two separate settings for each of those reflections. If there are more than that, you will see more settings. In your group node, you can choose the reflection intensity. So if you don't want a reflection, you can just remove it altogether. You can set the position of those reflections. So just press shift before you manipulate this because it's very sensitive. You also get an option to change the width and height of the reflection. You can also, you get 10 different shaders, so you can use each and every one of them. Like for example, if I go ahead and use this one, and this is a very unique one, right? So you get some additional settings in here, right? So you can get settings for iris pattern. So like for example, if you increase this, you can see that there is a lot of interesting details that you can get. You can reduce the scale of the pattern and maybe get a different value that you're looking for. You can also change the seed of it if you don't like the pattern. In addition to that, you also get an option to change the background color, right? So this would be very, very useful if you're trying to create demonic eyes or something like that. Like for example, in this one, you get an option to change the color of this additional arch that you're getting here. And I know the reflection looks odd, and that's because it's placed incorrectly. So you can just go to reflection setting and you can just change the position of this right here. Now let's try a different one as well, right? So I'm gonna go try this one, and if you see here there is an arch, and there are additional arch settings where you can also select the arch coverage. Like here you can basically choose how much of that arch you want to see. You can also work with the scale of it to if you're not happy with the placement of that arch. Like I said, like the settings keep changing. For example, if you go into the reflection setting here, you can also change the seed of this specific reflection where there are multiple reflections in display, and you can also choose how much of that reflection you want to see. There are 10 different shaders like this. One of the favorite ones that I have is right here, and that is this red one, which looks completely insane. But yeah, I guess this is currently live on Gumroad. You got the link in the description. Do try it out. If you don't want to go for the entire thing, there is also a link for a shader where you get one of these for $2. You can check that out too. And if you like it, you can go for the fuller version later. But I guess that's about it for today's video. If you want to learn how to make these shaders though, I have created a video covering just the fundamentals of how to create a procedural eye shader, specifically anime shader. So click on this video to know more.